Welcome to a journey back in time to 18th century Lisbon, one of the wealthiest, most powerful, and most beautiful cities on earth. Before London, before Paris, before modern Europe found its shape, Lisbon was the gateway to the world. This was a city where the air carried the scent of cinnamon and pepper, where Brazilian gold flowed through cobbled streets, and where the age of discovery still echoed in every palace, church, and harbor wall. Using advanced AI reconstruction, we have transformed 18th century sketches, copperplate engravings, and oil paintings into living, photorealistic scenes. Today, you won't just hear history, you will walk through it. You will wander the narrow alleys of the Alfama, stand before the magnificent Ribeira Palace, and witness the catastrophe that reshaped European philosophy, architecture, and the modern world itself. Lisbon at its peak. In the early 1700s, Lisbon was home to nearly 200,000 people, making it the fourth largest city in Europe, behind only London, Paris, and Naples. It was a city of sharp contrasts. On one side, Lisbon was praised as the new Rome, overflowing with more than 40 churches and 90 convents. On the other, it remained a medieval maze, narrow streets, wooden buildings, and no modern sewage system. An empire's wealth flowed through a city built for another age. In this golden era was racing toward a terrifying climax, the Tagus River, engine of an empire. To understand why the world was stunned when Lisbon fell, we must first understand its power. This is the Tagus River, the golden throat of Europe and the lifeblood of a global empire. By the mid-18th century, this was not just a river. It was the most valuable harbor on the Atlantic Ocean. A 1730 engraving by Joachim Otten shows a dense forest of masts, so many ships that people claimed you could cross the river by stepping from deck to deck. Why were they all here? Because Lisbon sat at the center of the first truly global economy, powered by 5 pillars of Portuguese supremacy. The 5 pillars of Lisbon's wealth. First, the spice link. Portugal controlled direct sea routes to Asia. From Goa, Malacca, and Timor came pepper, cinnamon, and cloves. Luxuries sold across Europe at extraordinary profit. Second, silk and porcelain. Through Macau, Lisbon held a near monopoly on Chinese porcelain, white gold desired by every European royal court. Third, Africa. Ports in Angola and Mozambique allowed Portugal to dominate Atlantic trade winds, funneling ivory, rare woods, and gold into Lisbon. But the true engine of Lisbon's power was the fourth pillar, Brazilian gold. After vast gold deposits were discovered in Minas Gerais in 1695, a literal river of wealth crossed the Atlantic. Nearly 1,000 tons of gold and millions of diamonds arrived in Lisbon in just a few decades. Few cities in human history have ever experienced wealth on this scale. A city of gold and filth. This wealth transformed Lisbon into a cultural and scientific magnet. Kings funded grand aqueducts, observatories, and a classified library of navigation charts known as the roteiros. Maps so valuable, they were treated like military secrets. By 1750, Lisbon was the world's largest warehouse and its wealthiest creditor. Yet the riverfront revealed another reality. The Ribeira was loud, chaotic, and filthy. Waste was thrown from windows. The Tagus served as both harbor and sewer. Travelers admired Lisbon's beauty, but complained endlessly about its stench. Still, this same river fed the poor with fish and crowned kings with diamonds, the palace of an empire. Standing at the river's edge was the Paço de Ribeira, the royal palace of Portugal. If Versailles symbolized French power, the Ribeira Palace symbolized global reach. Inside were over 70,000 books, priceless maps of the world, and masterpieces by Titian and Rubens. This palace was not just a home, it was the administrative brain of an empire stretching from Brazil to Indonesia. Today, not a single stone of it remains. Faith, power, and fear. Religion shaped every moment of Lisbon's life. The Geronimo's monastery, funded by a tax on Indian spices, stood as the city's spiritual anchor. Sailors prayed here before voyages that could last years, or end in death. Nearby stood the Belém Tower, a ceremonial gateway and a grim prison where prisoners were forgotten as tides rose.
Careful with that one. Don't worry, I've got it.
Fresh today, very good.
The Inquisition. At the Rocio Square, public executions known as auto da fe were staged by the Portuguese Inquisition. Victims, often Jews forced to convert, accused heretics or political enemies, were paraded through the streets and burned alive before cheering crowds. While Enlightenment ideas spread across Europe, Lisbon censored books and punished free thought. It was a city of immense beauty and deep fear, life in the shadows. Beyond the palaces lay the Alfama, Lisbon's oldest district. Life happened outdoors. Fishwives shouted prices through narrow alleys. Water was carried uphill by laborers known as Galegos. By night, the Bairro Alto transformed into a world of music, alcohol, crime, and early fado, songs born from longing and loss. And then came All Saints' Day, the morning the world ended. November 1st, 1755. Nearly the entire population was inside churches. Thousands of candles burned. At 9:40 a.m., the earth began to shake. This was no tremor. It was a massive undersea earthquake, estimated between 8.5 and 9.0 magnitude, lasting nearly 6 minutes. Church roofs collapsed instantly. Streets crushed the living. Survivors ran toward the river. Then the water vanished. 40 minutes later, a 20 to 30-foot tsunami surged up the Tagus, obliterating the riverfront. And then came fire. For 5 days, Lisbon burned. Total destruction. Lisbon was erased. 30,000, 60,000 dead. 85% of buildings destroyed. Royal Palace, gone. Royal Library burned. Maps of global discovery.
The sea is our only escape! The ships are ready, but the path is blocked.
Philosophers ask dangerous questions. How could a good God allow such destruction on a holy day in a devout city? Voltaire and Rousseau debated faith, reason, and suffering. The disaster helped ignite the Age of Enlightenment. Portugal's king fled stone buildings forever. Rebuilding fell to one man, the man who rebuilt Lisbon, the Marquês de Pombal. His response was ruthless and modern. Bury the dead, feed the living. He erased medieval chaos and rebuilt Lisbon as the world's first earthquake-resistant city. Buildings were tested with marching soldiers. Wide boulevards replaced narrow alleys. Order replaced superstition. Lisbon reborn. At the center rose the Praça do Comércio, built atop the ruins of royal power. Portugal was no longer ruled by divine fear, but by reason, commerce, and science. Lisbon had become modern. Today, this square is Lisbon's living room. Beneath your feet lie lost palaces, tsunami ruins, and the bones of an empire. Lisbon saw the end of the world and chose to continue. If you enjoyed this journey through history reborn, let us know in the comments. Which city should we uncover next? Edo period Japan, ancient Rome,